Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial. This segment's being brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where entrepreneurs and professionals and business owners go to grow their businesses and to leave a legacy. We're doing a special series of spotlights on businesses and professionals from across the country and even in your town. Joining me on this segment is Joe Palermo. He's from St. Charles, Missouri, and he is a non-Hollywood independent productions streamer. So I'd love to find out a little bit more about that work. Joe, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for having me.
So Joe, tell us about your work. What exactly is a non-Hollywood independent productions streamer, and who are the folks that you help?
Well, I think most people have probably recognized already that when they see a commercial on television for a new movie coming out, a lot of times you'll see available on Amazon Prime or available. It's all going streaming. Streaming is the future of watching, and I've spent my life producing, being on cable network shows and this and that and the other, and it's never very favorable. You have no control with what's going on with that. So having been on the internet since 1996 and having had a website, I know the ins and outs of that, and it just occurred to me, there's a lot of people out there, a lot of producers that have good content that wind up being number 101 instead of 100, and they can't even get the attention of the distributor. So this is a way for those independent producers to get their product out to the people, and there's revenue sharing involved through advertising. And I've developed a way to help them get their product funded, and that's through sponsorship. So there's a lot that we can do for the non-Hollywood independent producers out there, as well as the economy of the United States. That's primarily our target audience, is viewers in the United States. And we're just trying to move forward with getting the initial amount of money that we need to do, which is about roughly $300,000. We will be putting up a GoFundMe because my partner, Ken Romuler, who's the CPA and the IT person on this, he and I spent a year trying to figure out how to get the money to get this launched. And what we're attempting to do would typically fall under the SEC regulations. And that alone is a $25,000 plus effort to do that. That's for investors. So it's like, no, between us, we don't have that. So we're going with an alternate way. And we do have a mock-up site of what we will have. And that's www.j4, numeric 4, -itn.tv for those who would like to go take a look at what we're working to create.
So you're serving independent producers. To help me further clarify this, are you creating a new platform like a similar to a Netflix or a streaming platform? Is it a new platform altogether, or is this going to tie into one of those existing platforms?
No, it'll be a new platform altogether. Things like Netflix, most of the streamers that are out there that people know of have gone Hollywood. When they first started, they had you had the ability to approach them with your content, and they would talk to you. They've gotten so big, they've taken that ability away. They're only dealing with Hollywood folks, and Hollywood is not the coolest place to the people involved to be. There's a lot of great people, I'm sure, involved in the industry, but there's also a lot of take advantage of people type thing. Hollywood's been notorious through its existence of not paying out what they should for content. And this is a very honest, Midwest-oriented, hey, I'm a man of my word, and whatever the deal is that we make, you can count on it.
This is a very interesting concept because I've seen some very niche streaming sites come up, like the one that's just for horror fans, for example. Uh, so it sounds like you're really focusing on just independent producers, independent filmmakers. Is that right? Or are you in certain niches? If you were to give us like that elevator speech to, if you have your perfect audience right in front of you right now, what would you tell them is the appeal and who should pay attention to this platform?
Well, the appeal, I think, is that we're working to go more in depth with information. My personal interest, we've got 5 channels at this point. 21st Century Living, which there's thousands of subjects that you could put in there. We also have, and these are my personal interests, the martial arts channel, a lot in depth to go, with that ideology. I'm a martial artist myself since 1976. Metaphysics. I don't see anything out there about true metaphysics and the benefit there. And then the paranormal. I'm huge into paranormal. I've had paranormal experiences all my life, and I'm not pleased at all with the paranormal shows I'm seeing on TV. And then the independent producers channel. So, paranormal's big. It's just as we're able to market it, I think we will wind up with a huge audience.
How many different sub channels are you expecting to have? Is this going to be a very tightly, niche focused platform, or are you planning on really expanding it to all the independents?
I think, to all the independents. Now, we are not a service. You can't buy time or buy, but we're not a YouTube. Not just anybody can upload to this thing. We're going to be looking for content that fits the initial 4 channels, certainly. But the independents, they've got their freedom. We're not looking for so much slasher movies or things typically that are out there. We're not trendy. We want to give the person that's got this idea and this observation of societal things, which can go in any one of those categories pretty much, the ability to get their content seen and get some money back. If they are well received by the public. I believe in letting content stand on its own.
So you mentioned it's going to be like sponsor funded. Is this going to be for the viewer? Is it going to be free for the viewer? Or are you having a subscriber model? Tell us about that.
Yes, completely free for the viewer, always. Always. The sponsorships are there to pay for the content, and we will also have a space for advertisers, which is where the commerce comes in. We're in desperate times for businesses, especially small businesses. Small businesses are the backbone of the country, of the economy, and we want to give them a decent opportunity to be seen with links that will go back to their website. I've tried to set this up for the benefit of all.
So will the sponsors, will the independent producers be paid by the view, or is it just a flat fee per sponsorship, or how does that work?
The sponsors essentially are taking care of the content production budget, and they will be seen at the top of the view screen, and they will also, kind of similar to product placement, there will be a reminder built into the content. There can be video theft on the internet. It's like, well, okay, if someone manages to steal it from J4, they're not going to be able to knock out the content notices within the program. So anywhere this winds up going, the sponsors will be seen, and if whoever's interested, wants to go to that URL, they're free to go up to the browser and type that in and go check that out.
So this is a forthcoming project that you're working on now. Is it confidential, or are you able to give out the name of the platform or any other information?
Well, the platform is it's the Internet Television Network. It's J numeric for not numeric, but J4-ITN.TV. If people want to go there now, they're welcome to. And we will have a link once we get the GoFundMe platform done. We will have a link on our website that people can go and say, hey, here's a couple of bucks. We like what you're doing. Keep up the good work. Almost kind of like a PBS type thing.
Joe, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you were inspired to get into. You've been doing this a while yourself as an independent producer. Tell us what got you started in that. What inspired you?
Oh, Lord. Going back to 1973, when I was 14 and made my first short film, I was picked on a lot as a kid, and I did this short movie, went to school with it and showed it, and all of a sudden, all the kids were like, wow, that's cool. How'd you do this? Suddenly, I was the cool kid. I received acceptance from my peers for what I had done. It's like, okay, I got something here. This is something I'm good at, I can do. So that's what pushed me forward in producing. And then I went to Lindenwood Colleges back in 1977 and studied mass communications and got exposed to broadcast history, film history, theater, acting, journalism, and all that. And it turned out that I was pretty proficient with all that. So it's like, okay. Now, of course, at that time, we didn't have the internet. And that's when I would, in my study of Hollywood through the Variety newspaper, the industry trade paper, I found out all the issues, but I also found out all the money that could be made. And that inspired me because even back then, I was having my paranormal experiences, and I thought, this needs to be able to be investigated. It takes money to do investigations. So it's like, if I can make movies to support my paranormal interest, and that's what really began it. And then I found out the difficulty of getting content released. Cable television was just burgeoning at that point, and all they could do was tell you the number of subscribers that they had. And of course, instead of the local 6 channels, you had 77 channels. And then it just kept growing and growing. So you were in competition with all the other channels out there. And similar to Netflix and all that, they're the distributor of all this content. And it's like, yeah, but there's no way anybody is going to watch, 25,000 movies. So Netflix is the only one gaining out of this. So I'm creative, and I just let it kind of gel in my mind. Had my first website in 1997, and here's an interesting little tidbit. First 2 years that I had my website, I had exactly 425 visitors to the website. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then I went from being a subroot in the directory of the host to an actual domain name. When I hit the domain name, the next year I had 12,000 visitors. So it's like, okay, I just need to keep pushing this and learning about this until I can make it, make money. And that was the beginning, and I just kept learning and kept pushing it. I did 3 cable network shows regarding the chupacabra creature. Sorry about that. Monster Quest, which is a still from that show that I sent you for the picture. And I also was on something National Geographic Channel had on called Paranatural. And then the last one was Monsters and Mysteries in America. I provided all 3 shows with the entire documentary that I made on this. Chupacabra, The Legend Begins. None of them used the really good footage. It's like, they're lying. They're not. And some of it was misinformation that they put in, even though they had my entire documentary. It's like, no, no. And I didn't get paid a whole lot for usage, for them using my footage in it anyway. So that just gave greater emphasis for what I wanted to do, not just for myself, but the independent producers out there. Independent producing means they're not supported in any way, shape, or form by Hollywood, a Hollywood studio. So it's like, it's almost, it could be not for profit, but I'm not interested in not for profit. It's time to make money with all this stuff. If Monster Quest, the producers of Monster Quest, are going to be paid by the History Channel a decent sum of money, why are the content providers not getting a cut of that? So I'm really focused on helping the independent producers rightfully gain their funds. And if their content doesn't go over, then they need to reconsider what they're producing.
Well, Joe, you're on a noble mission, and it's absolutely fascinating and great for independent producers. So for our listeners and my viewers here in our audience who would like to learn more, check out the channel. Maybe even there are independent producers listening right now that would like to connect with you. Tell folks how they can connect with you and what to do next.
Well, probably the easiest way is to email me. And my email address is Joseph Palermo, JOSEPHPALERMO, all lowercase, 2012 at gmail.com. Because I'm working every day, and it's much easier to receive an email and check it out, because email is great that way. If you're up at 1 o'clock in the morning, you can get an email and respond to it and all that kind of thing. So that's the best way to get a hold of me. And once again, the website, if you want to get an idea of what we're doing, www.j4-itn.tv.
Fantastic. Joe, I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing with my audience today. Fantastic project I'm hearing about. And I wish you continued success for you and for your project.
I appreciate that, Mark. Thank you for having me on. And you had some good questions. I appreciate that too.
Thank you so much. This segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where professionals and entrepreneurs publish to grow their businesses and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. Join me on my next Expert Spotlight. I'm Mark Imperial. Take care.